Hey everybody, welcome to Panel Surfing. I'm Steve Sanu alongside Jonathan Case, creator of The New Deal, as well as illustrator on Green River Killer. But we're here to talk about The New Deal today. Jonathan, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
So I want to start things off because I know you're a big fan of classic American cinema.
Yeah.
And I know you've called out Billy Wilder in the past as being one of your favorites. How did your love of that era of film sort of help you germinate the idea of The New Deal?
Usually when I start a book, I have an image in my mind of kind of where I want to get to. And the image is usually made up of a little bit of dialogue or just a feeling that maybe classic movies evoke, you know, your memories of classic movies. For me, that was kind of my starting place. I wanted something that would be brisk and have a sense of whimsy, the fun and the lightheartedness with a little bit of the a little something more poignant.
The New Deal, I think, is unique in that it also sort of deals with some of the difficult social situations of the time. I mean, you have Frank, an Irish-American bellhop, and you have Teresa, an African-American maid. What kind of social challenges do those two sort of face during the course of the book?
It's the Depression, and I wanted to set it in a place in the Waldorf Astoria that would give you that kind of glitz and the glamour of the period, but I wanted to have that seen through the eyes of two people that you don't usually get to connect with, like, say, in those classic movies. You're always dealing with the white-collar people. And so for them, you know, they're in desperate financial straits, but they're also out of their comfort zone with the high society that they have to serve. I mean, of course, they're doing their jobs, they're professionals, but they rub up against the rough edges of that. And in the book, it's kind of, you know, I didn't want to dwell too much upon the troubles that are inherent in those class distinctions and things, but it does create some interesting backdrop, right, to the story of essentially just two unlikely friends and the trouble that they get into.
Speaking of fun and backdrop, you brought a pretty cool piece of art for us to have a look at today as well. Do you want to show it off a little bit?
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about your process.
Yeah, this is I do this on the computer. And what that allows me to do is pull in all my reference material, which for a book that's set in this period, you know, any period book, you need a ton of reference material. And I wanted to make sure that I got enough of the details right so that if you're a New Yorker, you're not going to be constantly, oh, it doesn't look that way. So I have layers of old photographs, but I also need things like Google Street View or something to open up a shot, you know, where an old photo doesn't give me all the information I need. I have to hunt and piece together different elements in order to arrive at something that looks like that period. And then after I'm done with that, then I can print out sort of a version of these inks and end up with this watercolor wash that I do sort of in the in-between areas. And then on the computer, I lay the two together, and you get this sort of a more rich look than you could if you were just doing everything digitally. Watercolor is just so nice for rooting things in a place where if I were doing it digitally, I would just really have to work at it in order to get this nice subtlety.
Well, I think everybody's pretty excited about making sure they can get their hands on The New Deal, and you will be able to get your hands on The New Deal as well. Go to a local bookstore, a local comic shop. You can go ahead and pick it up. Jonathan, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks again for having me.
I'm Steve Sanu. He's Jonathan Case, and this is Panel Surfing.